from a handful of awesome communities from across the country for a fun and informative competition called the Bring Your A-Game Quiz Show. As always, it's presented by Canada's Top Mayor Award. I'm Adam Growe, the Cash Cab Guy. I test their smarts on general knowledge and pop culture trivia questions based on their cities or townships or their personal stories, while you play along as you watch the show. We're putting the spotlight on people and places that are enriching the lives of Canadians. This episode of the Bring Your A-Game Quiz Show is sponsored by San Diego Homes of Simcoe County. See the San Diego difference. And Daniel May Forest Hill Real Estate, always here to get you to the next chapter. You and our sponsors are helping us to raise money for Food Banks Canada, a national charitable organization dedicated to helping Canadians living with food insecurity. You can donate online right now at bringyouragame.ca, or you can scan the QR code that's on your screen with your mobile device. Now, all of the communities that are featured on the show are on the lands of the original peoples, the Ungwe-Honwe of Turtle Island. And much like the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people long ago who came together with their community leaders to learn from them and then inspire others, I acknowledge and I'm thankful for the opportunity to do the very same thing on these very same lands right now. It's time to meet our mayors for this episode. The village of Radium Hot Springs, British Columbia is in a picturesque mountain setting with Kootenay National Park on one side and on the other the beautiful headwaters of the Columbia River. It's an international tourism destination known for its unlimited peaceful experiences for people looking for freedom to explore beautiful places. I took that right off the website. Please welcome Her Worship, Mayor Clara Reinhardt.
Thank you very much, Adam, and you described us beautifully. I don't have anything to add.
Well, you will soon. Hang on.
Okay.
Orillia, Ontario is located between Lake Couchiching and Lake Simcoe with a rich history that dates back several thousand years pre-contact for Indigenous peoples, known now as the Sunshine City for the waterfront, which is popular for its activities, annual festivals, and other cultural attractions. Please welcome His Worship, Mayor Steve Clark.
Hello, Adam. My pleasure being here.
Red Deer, Alberta is located in Aspen Parkland, a prairie and boreal forest region of rolling hills that's home to grain and cattle production near the midpoint of the Calgary-Edmonton corridor. From a center for oil and agriculture distribution, please welcome Her Worship, Mayor Tara Veer.
Hi, Adam. Thank you so much for having us out today.
Brampton, Ontario is a diverse, cosmopolitan, and vibrant city located just north of Lester B. Pearson International Airport and was the first city in the Greater Toronto Area and one of only 10 in North America to be designated an international safe community by the World Health Organization. Please welcome His Worship, Mayor Patrick Brown.
Great to be on your show.
So there they are, all of the mayors for this episode of the Bring Your A-Game Quiz Show. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Adam. Hello, Canada.
Motion to adjourn.
You've used your procedural time, Adam.
So your first question is inspired by Mayor Reinhardt in Radium Hot Springs, British Columbia. Because of the hot springs, of course, we got to talk a little bit about that. The heat for the springs comes from where?
Right under the ground. The hot water comes up from the well underneath. It does have to go through some filtration, and there is some chlorination to keep it safe and maintain our standards, the health standards, but then it also flows through, so there's new hot water coming through all the time.
A source for heating power for centuries, in 2002, the Queen of England installed a geothermal heating system where?
A crown property.
I'm going to go with Sandringham. I just watched The Crown, so naturally, you know.
I'm wondering about Windsor Castle because that's where she spends a lot of time as well.
Well, here's your multiple choice. Is it Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, or the Crawley family estate?
It's not C, that's Downton Abbey. Adam's trying to...
I'm just wondering how they would do it in the heart of London. I'm going to stick with
Yeah, I'd go for Windsor too.
Windsor.
Yeah. Well, my original inclination was Buckingham.
Unfortunately. I would have taken her personal art gallery, but Buckingham Palace was the first place. Maybe eventually in Windsor Castle, but this was the first in 2002. But listen, mayors, part of this is the fun for the people who are watching. And they just love when they're right and you're not. So it's all good. Now, speaking of royalty and knights, let's head to Brampton, Canada. Brampton, Ontario. Mayor Brown, something that you brought up about your community is the Knights Table. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what Knights Table is all about?
Well, I think that the question that started that conversation was about groups that are doing great work during the pandemic. And we've got Annie Bino and her team at Knights Table that have been stepping up to collect non-perishable goods, provide food and support for the most vulnerable in our community. And so when I highlighted a local hero, it was Knights Table and Annie's team, because we have the luxury of having our own homes and having an ability to stay safe, but there's many in our community that don't, and those social services are so integral.
Well, one of the themes that the Knights Table brings forward, it happened to be the theme at their last gala pre-COVID, when people were still gathering for these events, was pay it forward. And I don't know if it still is the Knights Table that they talk always about pay it forward, but that seems to represent the core in terms of acts of kindness. And so the question that I wanted to bring up with that in terms of a pop culture reference was about the movie, the 2000 movie Pay It Forward. And in that movie, the father of Haley Joel Osment's character Trevor was played by what actor who that same year was People Magazine's sexiest rock star?
2000.
You can tell we don't have a personal life.
Is it John Bon Jovi, the Backstreet Boys? Like they all just as a group, they were big in 2000, so they just all played his father. Or Tim McGraw.
Okay, so there's only one rock star.
John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, it's gotta be Bon Jovi.
I guess Bon Jovi.
So that or Patrick Brown.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Good recovery on the John Bon Jovi question.
We weren't shot down in a blaze of glory.
Okay, we're batting 500 now.
So going from a rock star, keeping on the theme of music, and into Orillia, Ontario, Mayor Clark, it's not only home to some legendary singers, songwriters. Let's talk a little bit first about the internationally renowned Mariposa Folk Music Festival.
Oh yeah, it's a world-class festival. It's into its 60th. Well, actually, its 60th event or year would have been this past July. Of course, it had to be postponed. So we'll celebrate that hopefully this year. But it attracts entertainment from all over the world, anything folk related, representing different cultures from different countries, as I say, around the world. And it's one of those events, Adam, that you can take any member of your family to, whether you're 2 years old, 50 years old, or 102 years old. It's just a wonderful event that really showcases it, really. And it's right on the shores of Lake Couchiching.
Well, Orillia, also the birthplace of legendary singer Gordon Lightfoot. Gordon Lightfoot's singing debut was the Irish lullaby Tooraloo Ralooral in grade 4 on his school's PA system, as he modeled his voice, after his parents encouraged him to do so, after what other legendary crooner who shares his name with an NHL star?
Shares his name with an NHL star. Well, I played hockey with Patrick, but I don't think Patrick made it to the NHL. No. Although he flies down that right wing, let me tell you.
I love it.
Crooner.
Down the middle, Steve. Down the middle, in non-partisan fashion.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's Bing Crosby.
And I think that's a great answer. I was thinking first and last name. So yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Is it Nat King Kucherov? Wayne Newton? Or Bing Crosby?
Yeah.
You got it. You got it, Steve.
Yeah. Credit to Mayor Steve on that one.
Now, you've talked a little bit of hockey already. Hockey host, I guess, maybe more known for being a referee, Ron McLean, is from Red Deer. Is this correct?
Yes, he's from Red Deer. He met his wife, Carrie, in Red Deer. He began his broadcast career here. He'll give us a shout out every now and then on Hockey Night in Canada. And he also was with Carrie. They were the co-hosts for the 2019 Canada Winter Year. And were very instrumental in help securing that once in a generation opportunity.
Oh, nice.
We had about 8 to 10 infrastructure builds as a result of the Canada Games. And one of them was we were able to replace a 62-year-old arena with the arena that's shown there. That was one of our infrastructure builds that we were able to accomplish. But we really did make the most of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The games brought our community together, brought community unity and spirit at a time where we needed it the most. Sport building is community building, and community building is country building. And any community that has the opportunity to host either the summer or winter games, we encourage them in that endeavor.
Here's the question. Built in 1957, it was the tallest water tower in North America at the time. And its nickname, this is, of course, talking about the Horton Water Spheroid, right? It's based on the appearance of what food that you might find in your fridge crisper.
I know. I'd get in a lot of trouble with my community if I didn't know.
The big carrot.
Is it green onions, carrots, or overripe bananas?
I think go for carrots.
I'm going to go with carrots.
The big carrot.
So I love the fact that the mayors think that Canadians visiting Alberta, going into the Red Deer area for the first time when they drive by, oh, look at that on the skyline. It's the giant Red Deer carrot as the water tower.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you can answer.
So it is officially or colloquial known as the green onion. It's historically designated as the Horton Spheroid and was originally, as Adam noted, for water conservation and repurposed as a radio tower. And because of its challenging shape, it was protected for heritage purposes, and it was repainted about a decade ago to great community controversy. But it remains as a part of part of Red Deer.
Well, leave it to me to bring up a question that's controversial.
Thanks, Adam. A 10-year-old controversy too at that.
If I could, Tara, Ron McLean was here for Rogers Hometown Hockey a year or so ago. Coincidentally, it was Gordon Lightfoot's birthday. We had him here the same weekend, and they're both big fans of each other's, especially Ron was like a kid in a candy store. It was actually pretty neat.
Yeah,
I was with you that day, I recall, Steve. That was, 2017?
Yeah, I think that's right. It was 150th anniversary. That's right.
Honestly, his mind is unbelievable. I mean, the detail.
He's an encyclopedia of Canadian knowledge and probably one of the best examples of being a gentleman.
Yeah, I agree.
All I can say to that is, hello, I'm still in the room, right?
He's so needy, isn't he?
So the next time we talk to Ron McLean, all of us will have to tell Ron McLean that, oh, by the way, Adam Growe, let's focus on him.
Yeah, Adam Growe brought up the green onion. I had to go down that pathway again. Okay, we are heading back to Radium Hot Springs, a little bit more of a nugget from Mayor Clara. And you brought up the fact that you are home to your very own herd of Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thanks, Adam. So yeah, we don't own them. We share them with the people of Canada and Kootenay National Park. The herd right now is sitting at around 130. They have their lambs and they come back to town in usually around October, and then come back for the rut. And that's when the real show begins. And they own the town at that point. They go where the feed is. They notice a very special thing. People put up sheep fences.
Amazing. Right. And so do they pretty much just ignore the inhabitants other than themselves?
Yeah, they do. And in actual fact, that creates a bit of a problem when they're on the highway licking the salt brine that they use for winter road maintenance.
Wow.
I can say we do not have that issue in Brampton.
Well, the rut of the Radium Hot Springs Bighorn sheep is celebrated with the annual Headbanger Festival, because that's what they do. They have that big ritual that they do to demonstrate their dominance. But I'm going to take a different twist with this. In terms of rock music, the origins of the term headbanger is unclear, but it's commonly associated with the first U.S. tour in 1969 of what English rock band whose name includes a type of airship?
Jefferson Starship.
Yeah.
Is it Jefferson Airplane, Led Zeppelin,
Ah,
Blimp Biscuit?
yeah. So I'm liking the Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's probably Zeppelin.
The era is probably
I
more.
got to stick with my first answer.
Well, your first answer was Jefferson Starship. I'm giving it to the mayor. This is a chance for you, mayors, to get bonus by showing me your best rock music headbanging right now. If you're at
Oh, no.
a Led Zeppelin concert.
I think Steve Clark will do it on
Let's
our
go with
behalf.
Steve. I defer to Mayor Steve.
English rock band tour after the British invasion. Of course, there's a lot of nuances to the English accent, not so much to the English language. So I wanted to use language nuances to bring us back to Red Deer with regards to a little bit of a language misunderstanding that resulted in the name of the city.
A little bit, but it's actually, it's I think a reflection, sort of in a post-Truth and Reconciliation Canada. Red Deer was actually named on a language misunderstanding between the Indigenous word for elk, and then it was interpreted as Red Deer. So, unfortunately, our community was named on a misunderstanding, but we actually use that now, and we have a great relationship with our Indigenous community and are building on Canada's path to truth and reconciliation.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about Red Deer because it's got other historic significance post-contact. And this is dating back to 1922, when the first court case in Canada to include female jurors took place. Even though from Canadian history, post-contact standpoint, women were first permitted to sit on juries in Canada in the province of Manitoba. It was actually in Red Deer that this was the first time. So I wanted to kind of write a question that was accessible in terms of the legal profession. So this is it. In 2019, Vanessa Antoine of General Hospital fame became the first Black Canadian woman to get a lead role in a primetime drama playing a legal aid lawyer. In what show based in Nova Scotia?
We need a Nova Scotia mayor on for this question.
Yeah.
It is neat. There's a lot more movie and TV production happening in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
Is it Lobstertown, Diggstown, or Murdoch Mysteries?
We don't really watch TV. We read public agendas. So I don't think.
I'm gonna step into it here and guess at Diggstown.
I might go with Mayor Claire on this one.
Good choice. Nice job.
Thanks.
Good job, Mayor Clara.
Well, good guess.
Now, being a legal aid professional is almost like volunteering, so I wanted to use that to bring us back to Orillia. Because you shared with me, Mayor Clark, that Orillia was recently awarded with the Cooperative Communities Award. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, a couple of years ago, we were, as you mentioned, awarded the Cooperative Communities Award for being the most giving, caring, philanthropic community in all of Ontario. One of the other criteria was it had to have a vibrant or robust arts and cultural community, which we certainly do. And a lot of the spirit has come through during COVID. And the show today is raising money for the food bank, and I'll tell you, our community really stepped up for our food bank. The Orillia spirit has really shone through during COVID.
Well, volunteering is a part of that award, as you mentioned, one component. In 1736, the world's first volunteer-run fire department, Union Fire, was founded by what famous person whose name is a money slang term because he appears on currency? 1736.
So there was no Canadian currency in
There was no
1736.
Canada.
Surrey. Yeah, Borden would be later.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Franklin.
Franklin, that's his era, I think. But
Yes, I guess. Yeah,
was he in
Frank-
Canada for 5 minminutes?
Well, to be fair, the Bring Your A Game part was bringing attention to Orillia winning that award, which had to do with volunteering.
Okay, so
Trivia question had to
international.
do with Benjamin Franklin in Boston getting that first volunteer run fire.
Okay, we're over 500 again. Good job, everyone.
Okay, oh, good.
So let's get a little bit outdoors. It's the pandemic. There's restrictions on a lot of communities across the country. So let's virtually get outdoors and celebrate some great parks. Mayor Brown, you brought up a couple that are your favorites. You want to tell us a little bit about the parks that are in your community that you want to bring the country's attention to?
Yeah, there's lots of great green spaces in Brampton. It's one of the neat attributes about the city. And two of my favorites that I mentioned were Shinkuzi Park, where we have our Canada Day functions. It's a huge, beautiful green space in the middle of the city, but also Gage Park, which is in the historic downtown. They've got a circular skating rink in the winter that is a lot of fun. So there's lots of great amenities, and I think, at the end of the day, any community, I think having those amenities are integral, especially right now during COVID, to be able to get out and get fresh air. Boy, it's important.
So the world's largest park is not in Canada, as you might imagine. It's in Greenland. It's 972,000 square kilometers, the National Park of Greenland, which in mid-March is home to a 2-day event on a course cut on the ice between icebergs where players compete in a world championship of what sport?
Course tells me it's not a hockey game or a broomball game. Maybe dog sledding.
He says it's a course.
It's golf.
So it's golf.
I'm going to say golf as well. Have you seen me on the golf course? If there's a hazard, I'll find it.
That's awesome. I love it. Must be, Mayor Clara, the odorless natural spring water that is stimulating some last minute insight to realize that, yes, in fact, it is golf.
Wow.
So we will go back to Radium Hot Springs and the area. No sports played in the protected wetlands, which is something that you shared with me in advance. What can you tell us about the wetlands in terms of the importance, not only for tourism, but the region?
Sure. So we are within an hour of the headlands of the Columbia River, which, as you know, goes up through BC and then down through the US and ends up in the Pacific Ocean. And it is a major source of fishing, electric power, et cetera, for two countries. But up here, we have the last unspoiled wetlands. And so the biodiversity is remarkable. And there's a lot of effort being put into protecting it. And what you're seeing now is early spring after the melt. And on the average year, that'll become on a heavy snow melt year, that'll become a lake, that whole area. And then it all flushes into the Columbia Basin. So very, very important to us for fowl, ungulates, fish. It's just amazing.
Well, of the protected species, one of the greatest concerns is for the northern leopard frog, which many people might be most familiar with as the most common frog once used in high school dissection classes. In E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Elliot suddenly decides to save all of the frogs in the science class after E.T. had been back at his house drinking beer and playing with what handheld electronic device?
It would have been a Game Boy back then, maybe?
It was the early 80s, so that'd be an Atari.
Atari?
Yeah, I think it's smart.
Oh, Atari, that's good. Handheld,
Yeah.
but handheld.
Was E.T. drinking beer and playing with a BlackBerry Pearl, a Game Boy,
No.
or a Speak and Spell?
I think it has to be the last one because the first
It's got to
two
be
are
a
more
speak and
recent.
spell.
Yeah.
Got to be a speak and spell, and I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
That's the best way to get a correct answer on the Bring Your A Game quiz show, is not have any idea what it is. I love it. Bonus points for the mayor who does their best ET impression right now.
Steve Clark wins.
So the Speak and Spell being settler technology, let's go back to some indigenous technology and the community of Aurelia. We were talking about that narrow connection between the two lakes, and a little bit about that from you, Mayor Clark, would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing source of pride in not just in our indigenous community, but that's a significant part of their history. That is an aerial view of it right there. That's Lake Couchiching on the far side, and Lake Simcoe in the foreground, where the two lakes meet. And there are fish weirs under there because the fish would go through there certainly in different times of the year. And different First Nations would gather here as far back as 5,000 years ago. And they put these weirs in the water to force the fish into a narrow channel where they would be caught and shared, and there'd be celebrations. But that's part of our Indigenous history in the area. The Huron-Wendat were here when contact was made with Champlain. I will say with all sincerity, one of the greatest pleasures I've had since being mayor is the education I've had on Indigenous issues. And quite frankly, I've been embarrassed as a formally educated person and an informally educated person on my lack of knowledge of Indigenous issues. So I'm looking forward to continuous education.
Located between Lake Simcoe and Couchiching, the Majikaning fish weirs are one of the oldest human developments in Canada, built by the First Nations Huron-Wendat, and predate which of the 7 wonders of the ancient world?
My thought is the pyramids, the Majikaning fish fence, 5,000 years.
Is it the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Great Pyramid of Giza, or Weber's Burgers?
I'm going to guess the pyramid.
But Weber's Burgers has been around for a long time. You got to admit.
It's time you took it out of your glove compartment and threw it out, Adam.
I don't know, Mayor Brown, if you stopped keeping track, where did you guys think you ended up? In the plus 500 arena, or?
Yeah, I think we're probably above 500. What do you think?
Oh, higher than that.
I think he stopped tallying because we didn't do that well. So. Thank you, Adam, for having us, and to our fellow Canadians for supporting Food Banks Canada.
Thanks, Mayor's. It's been a pleasure meeting with you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye, everybody, and don't forget to donate.
Always presented by Canada's Top Mayor Award, this episode of the Bring Your A Game Quiz Show was sponsored by San Diego Homes of Simcoe County. See the San Diego difference. And Daniel May Forest Hill Real Estate, always here to get you to the next chapter. We've been raising money and awareness for Food Banks Canada, a national charitable organization dedicated to helping Canadians living with food insecurity. You can donate right now at bringyouragame.ca or scan the QR code on your screen with your mobile device.
We are a people of passion in a land so wonderfully free, where we belong, where we'll grow strong. Let's shout out to our mayors. Together we stand, building our land. A shout out to our mayors. Elevate, celebrate, raise up your hands for our mayors. In Canada, cities and towns, our mayors strive to reach higher ground, and high on the prize through the Lord.